Well, let's get more on those local election results, shall we, everybody? Those results are still coming in, so we will bring you up to date with them as and when any more drop. But Sir Keir Starmer says that Labour have had some fantastic results. But have they actually been good enough for a party that wants to win a general election? Bear in mind, they've still got a big majority to overturn. Starmer was in Medway in Kent, where Labour won control of the council from the Tories for the first time since 1998. Labour have also won Plymouth and Stoke-on-Trent. That's Jonathan Gullis's area. That he's a regular on the channel, isn't he? Joining me now is GB News' senior political commentator, Nigel Nelson. Nigel, thank you very much. Now, Sir John Curtis says that they're going to need around a 10-point lead in order to consider winning at a general election. They're on about a 9-point lead, so the jury's out on all of this. What do you put down to Labour's perceived success here?
I think a lot of it is actually anti-Tory. I think there's been a great deal of tactical voting, and people want sort of almost anybody else but the Tories. However, Labour seem to have actually made inroads into red wall territory that they absolutely need to get back for the general election. So places like Stoke-on-Trent, Blackpool, these are all great wins for Labour. Also, they've been able to pick up seats in the southwest. So Plymouth was a good result. Swindon was a good result. It's a bit difficult to actually say just because you've done this, you will win the general election. But broadly, where Keir Starmer needs to be is about 10 points ahead of the Tories to have a chance of getting an overall majority.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's quivering on the edge of that. The question will be whether or not this is the crest of Sir Keir's wave, and if Rishi can prove to be a bit competent and then obviously garner more public support, whether that wave comes crashing down and it can continue for the next, what would you say, maybe 14 months until the next election. But you mentioned those red wall seats, and I'll just come out and say it, a lot of working class areas. And we know that those people lent Boris Johnson and the Conservative Party their vote at the last election. Why do you think that more working class people have gone back to Labour there?
Because I think they feel betrayed. And what we're talking about is a lot of Brexit-supporting areas. And really the great benefits of Brexit that Boris Johnson promised haven't been delivered. So in that sense, that they have been betrayed by Boris Johnson. You've also got just simply the chaos of the last year. So there's a certain disillusionment for all politicians. But this is what Rishi Sunak has been describing as sort of the box set drama that we've just been through, and people are really angry about it. So that's Partygate, that's Liz Truss messing up the economy. Now, Rishi Sunak should have got some kind of bounce by being a new Prime Minister on the basis it should look like a new government. He hasn't, but then he hasn't done anything very much. And I think what it comes down to, when the election does come sometime a year from now, maybe 18 months, it really will come down to whether people actually feel better off than they do now. If they don't, Keir Starmer is a shoo-in for number 10.
Yeah, I think there is some truth in that, to be honest with you, Nigel, about the money in people's pockets being an absolutely core issue when they go into that polling booth and when they put their cross in whatever box it is. That will be top of their agenda, I think, won't it? But can I ask, because I'm supposed to have Tom Watson on a little bit later on, former deputy leader of the Labour Party. I'm also going to be talking to Vince Cable, actually, fingers crossed, later on. But Tom Watson, I imagine, is going to tell me that this is a resounding victory for Labour and that this is a symbol that the British public have come back to the Labour Party. I'm not sure people know what the Labour Party stands for. Do you? What were people voting for?
Well, I think I do know what the Labour Party stands for. I mean, this accusation that Keir Starmer doesn't stand for anything, I think probably did wash about a year ago. Since then, he's been fleshing out policy after policy. So we kind of do know what he stands for. Whether you actually like it or not, or believe it, is a different matter. But he does talk about what he calls his mission. So that will have to give Britain the fastest growth in the G7, to halve violent crime. He's got various ideas about taxation, ending non-dom status, for instance, the charitable status of private schools, so they will pay more tax. he puts everything onto growth, and what we need to hear from him now is exactly how he will achieve that growth. But at the moment, we certainly have plenty of ambitions from the Labour Party about how they would actually run a government and make Britain better.
And no doubt we'll talk more of those. Just one more quick one with you, Nigel, if that's okay. And that is about the Liberal Democrats. And I happen to live in the Windsor and Maidenhead borough, right? So I know that quite well. And I know that the Liberal Democrats have made a massive virtue there about blocking planning developments. Because, frankly, if people live in a rural area, they don't want 500 houses going up on the lovely golf course that used to be at the back of their house. And I can understand that. But does that kind of policy really do well on a national level?
Well, no. I mean, these are local elections we've just had, so something like that would play quite big. I mean, politics actually really does come down to local issues. So if you've got a massive pothole outside your front door, what your primary concern will be getting somebody to come and fix it, and your vote in a local election will go in that particular direction. If you've got no money in your pocket, you'll be concerned about the cost of living. So obviously it depends on what it is that actually troubles you, but certainly in local elections, if there's a major controversy going on, that's where a party that says they can solve it or stop it will benefit.